join Greg and Richard right here on Talking Red.
Hello and welcome to Talking Reds, a Nottingham Forest podcast, hosted by myself, Greg Oram, and fellow Forest fan from across the Atlantic, Richard Spray.
Getting up at the crack of dawn, never want the bright or yawn. He's the guy with lots to say. His name is Richard Spray.
Got a bit more operatic this morning on that.
Ooh, that was very slow, man.
And it is the crack of dawn. It's 4:30 in the morning for you, Richard. We dragged you out of your bed extra early. How you doing, Master Spray?
Only for this wonderful guy that we're going to talk to. Yeah, but yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm actually surprisingly very alert. I got to bed earlier, so it's a good thing. Good thing.
Good job. We are delighted to be back with our first special guest of 2025 as we continue our One With series. Joining us today is a young entrepreneur on a mission to delight the Forest fan base with a superb range of Nottingham Forest player-inspired T-shirts. So whether you're a Gibbs-White or Elanga fan, or mad about Hudson-Odoi or Ola Aina or others, there are some clever and humorous designs that really capture the imagination of every Forest fan. So sit back as we chat about his journey, his love of Forest, and hopes for the rest of the season. Please welcome to Talking Reds, Sam Evans for the One With Tricky Tees.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yes, Sam, it's great to have you with us. We are delighted that you could be here. We're really excited to chat with you about your business and your journey. Before we do that, I just want to say to everyone watching, listening, don't forget to get involved in the comments. Please do drop any questions you got in there, any thoughts. We will try and give shout outs if we can. If you're tuning into this episode after we finish this live, either on Apple or Spotify, of course, we welcome you and we thank you for listening. And so please also consider liking and subscribing. It really helps us out if you would do so.
Please do go ahead and hit like and subscribe to be sure not to miss any future episodes from Talking Reds.
Our good friend Jimmy at Nottingham Forest has been a real legend with some great cartoon images of the gang recently. So Jimmy, if you're listening, then thank you so much again for your help. So, Sam, we kick things off always by asking the guest the first question, which is, what is your Forest story? How and why did you become a Forest fan? Is it a family thing? All that kind of stuff. So, over to you, Sam.
Yeah, so I became a Forest fan from the age of 4 years old because my dad, like me, is a massive Forest fan. So I was brought into it through family, and have never looked back since, and have suffered through in my lifetime some of the dark days, and now thankfully we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're enjoying our time as Forest fans right now.
We are, but I guess you're sort of mid-20s or so. So the absolute whole of your Forest life has been in the Championship. I think maybe there were possibly 1 or 2 years when you were younger in the League One situation. So you've only known really Forest as a second division side in old school terms. So when Forest finally achieved that miracle and get up through the playoffs, just tell us from your perspective how that felt, because I know how it felt from mine and Richard's as well. We experienced Forest back in the glory days, so to get back to it was a great feeling for us, but it's almost like kind of a different feeling. But for you as a younger person, mid-20s, as I say, just tell us how that felt.
I mean, it was a massive relief, really. I think it was almost something that I kind of thought would never happen. Growing up, it was almost just the norm that we were Championship, League One, and kind of that was just the complete norm. And watching Match of the Day every Sunday morning, like I used to do before playing football on a Sunday growing up, I never thought I'd even see Forest feature on there, never mind see where we are now. So the fact that when we went to Wembley, it was an emotional day, I think, for everyone involved, and yeah, it was almost like a dream come true, really. So it's almost weird looking back now, because now the Premier League almost feels like a norm, and it's funny how things change so quickly over time. So yeah, it was a really special day. Like I say, I had some of those League One days. I was before Wembley, my best day as a Forest fan was probably that Yeovil at home when we got promoted from League One. That was I mean, I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. So that's it shows how far we've come, and the journey that we went on to get there. So yeah,
it's amazing. So how much familiarity do you have with the eras that we probably covet? The Cloughie eras, because it predates you clearly from your age. But how much does your dad share with you, and how much have you gone back and watched highlights and kind of immersed yourself into sort of the history of the club? Probably the period of time that your dad really loves and probably connects with.
Yeah, I mean, my dad shared a lot with me. I've obviously watched all the Cloughie stuff, all the I Believe in Miracles film. I'm just Forest mad, so anything I can get my hands on and get stuck into, I've loved. So yeah, it's been an education from where we were, and it's almost unfathomable to think that we were that club at one stage when obviously we were going through those championship years. So it's nice to see that the club's getting back there, and it's obviously I've always been aware of the history and the fan base of the club and how much it means to so many people worldwide. So the history is obviously there, and yeah, I mean, I watched the Celebrity Mastermind the other week with Matt Ford on, where he had his special category was Nottingham Forest from, I think, the 70s to the early 90s. And I think my dad was quite surprised that I got 6 out of 10 there. So I'll take that as someone that wasn't alive during that period.
Fantastic. We'll talk more about Forest in the here and now a little bit later, because how could we not? It's been a fantastic season. So we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts on that. But wanted to ask you about Tricky Tees, because I've been inspired by you. Look, I've got one of the T-shirts on, guys. I've got the Hudson-Odoi and Gibbs-White handshake, which I absolutely love. So in danger of this becoming like a QVC channel, the shopping channel. We will be talking about your designs now. So tell us about, where did the idea come from to do the T-shirts? How did it start? Basically, just tell us the story of the origins of the designs. Are the designs all your own? Are you getting some help and some other ideas, etc., etc., etc.? So yeah, we want to hear all about that.
Sure. So how it started was probably it was towards the back end of the promotion season when I kind of first had the idea. I've always loved the art of football stuff. Those guys are fantastic at what they do, and that was kind of my real inspiration. And obviously they do things now. They've grown massively, and they do things for all clubs all over. So I thought, do you know what? I enjoy creating art. I enjoy being creative and having that side of me. Well, putting that side of me through creating these digital kind of art pieces. So I thought, well, the thing that I'm passionate about most is Forest. I thought, why not intertwine the two? So yeah, I kind of had a go at coming up with some ideas. I think one that's actually on Twitter, on X, that the first one I did, that was one of Brees Sandler when he saved the penalty. That was just my first real kind of attempt at doing something, and it kind of snowballed from there. I kind of found a way to get these on T-shirts and have them available for people to enjoy as well. And yeah, it's kind of developed from there. I think one of my first initial ones was the Danilo one, where the image of him celebrating, and it was crazy just through the power of social media. I think his agent saw it over in Brazil and showed it to him, and organised for me to go and meet him outside the training ground and give him a T-shirt, which was amazing. And it snowballed from there. I've given one to Felipe. Yeah, there we go. There's the Danilo one, and yeah, Felipe, Yatesy, and it's just kind of spiraled really. So yeah, I mean, Yatesy saw the design on Instagram and reached out and messaged me, which it's mind blowing really. Just the fact that I decided that I wanted to do some drawings and put them on T-shirts, and then I've got the Forest captain messaging me on Instagram. It's a crazy world, but but yeah, that's kind of how it started and how it's going. And for me, the designs are. I always think after I've just done a design, I think, oh God, where's my next one going to come from, or where's the next idea going to come from? And it just comes naturally. There'll be a new chant that will come out that almost makes it too easy for me from the terraces, which is it's always nice to see. And yeah, for example, the recent one that I've done is the Milenkovic one, the Serbinator, which was. I think Ola Aina put something on his Snapchat story that someone had done an edit of Milenkovic and it got its way into the gym at Forest. So I thought I'll do my own take on that and create my own design and put that on a t-shirt. And I think it looks good, and hopefully others think the same as well. So yeah, that's how it started. So the more that Forest fans are creative with ideas and songs and things like that, it helps me out massively, because it gives me inspiration to create other future designs as well.
I was going to ask, have you had a chance to interact with this guy? Have you had a chance to actually talk with the Nuno?
Not properly, no, sadly.
Okay.
I mean, he's obviously a very busy guy, but hopefully I'm hoping to try and expand my Forest connections a little bit more, and I think that will happen over time, and hopefully we can get maybe some more connections with some of the players and yeah, see where it takes me, really.
How did you manage to get the Nuno straight into his hands? Sorry, Richard. How did you manage to get the Nuno straight into his hands there?
So my dad actually works for Barclays, and he got through work a meet and greet thing. So I said to him, I was like, right, you need to take the shirt down and somehow show it to him or something like that. And I wasn't expecting a photo. It just came back, and there we go, a photo of him holding it, and I just couldn't have asked for anything better. I would have liked it if he ironed the t-shirt before, maybe, but yeah, it's but we'll take it. So yeah, that was a great moment just to see him wearing it, and it's nice just to know that he's seen it, he's aware of it, and it shows that the Forest fans have got that support for him, and I just that makes me feel happy that he's seen it.
So how long does it typically take for you to do this? Is it just you that's working on these designs? Basically, you're doing this all exclusively. There's no like co-designers involved or anything of that nature?
No, it is me full time. So I work a full time job, and anytime I'm not working my full time job, I'm pretty much trying to think of new ideas and trying to run social media accounts and stuff like that, which I was not used to doing. I had little experience in doing before, so everything's kind of been a learning curve for me. And like I say, I'm the sole designer of everything. So anything that gets put on a t-shirt, it's all come from me. Putting in some hard yards to try and come up with these ideas. So yeah, it can be tiring, and it can take a lot of time sometimes, but I love doing it. So for me, it doesn't exactly feel like work or anything like that. I love doing it, so it's more of a hobby.
One thing I wanted to have a chat with you about when it comes to the t-shirts is the process a little bit, because I was excuse me. I was a little bit pleasantly surprised by the quality, actually, of the t-shirt, because sometimes you order t-shirts from companies or from people like yourself who, and they come through and the material's a bit rubbish and they stretch a little bit. I was surprised and pleasantly surprised how nicely fitted these are. So I'm an XL. I'm not a slim guy. But this fit so nicely. It's like a slim fit, but not like a tight fit. There's room in it as well. So for anyone who's watching and listening and thinking about buying a t-shirt, and I encourage you to, I've put actually the link in the chat. So the Tricky Trick Tees link to his website is there in the chat as well, and I'll put it in the bio after. But it's so important that you have a quality item going out, because I think an adult shirt is £25, which I think is about right, if I'm honest with you. Because you put the time and legwork in, and ultimately, you've got to think. You're thinking about how many you might sell. It could be anything from 1 to none to up to 100 or more. Who knows? But the quality of the t-shirt itself, the material, has to come into play. I noticed that you use 100% organic cotton, I think. So, what is the process of finding a t-shirt and and getting your design onto the right t-shirt so that you get repeat buyers. Because I've been a repeat buyer myself. I've got this, I'm now a repeat buyer. And that's ultimately the aim, isn't it, when you're setting up a business, because your audience is the Forest fan base. That's an easy thing to think about. There's my audience, there's my market. And if everyone buys one t-shirt, great. But you don't want everyone to buy one t-shirt, as much as that would be lovely, because there's a lot of Forest fans. You want people to come and return and buy more and enjoy the product. And a lot of that comes down to the quality of the product. So as much as the design is great, the material and the fabric has got to be right as well. So what kind of process do you go through to get that sorted?
So I actually use it. So I use a company called T-Mill. You can see it in the link on my website. They're a company that they're based in the Isle of Wight, and they help with print on demand. So one of the biggest hurdles that was for me when I first started this is that a lot of my designs are of players, and football's a very fast-paced world, and player could be here 1 minute and gone the next minute. So for me, it had to be something that I could not have. Felipe, for example, a perfect example. It had to be something for me that there wouldn't be too much risk or involved, especially when I was first starting out. So I didn't want to have to go and find source a load of t-shirts and have to bring them all in and hold a load of stock, because like you say, in January, for example, I could have 20 t-shirts ready to sell, and the player goes, and all of a sudden that stock's basically worthless to me, and I could be in a bit of trouble there. So the company do like a print on demand service, which is fantastic for me. So I upload all my designs and have my website through them. And when the order's made, it's handled through them. So they're fantastic, and it's been really good for me starting out and growing the kind of the audience in the business, which is it's been fantastic. And like I say, they do a great range of products, and the quality is surprisingly good. It's Greg, you're not the first person to say that, like, oh wow, I was like surprised by how good it was. So yeah, it's really like good to see that people enjoy that, and they offer like a big range of stuff. Like they offer kid sizes. I've started putting on like oversized t-shirts, because I like wearing kind of the kind of heavier weight t-shirts and oversized ones. So they're slightly more expensive, but I think for the quality, even further on those is crazy. I've never seen anything like that from any sort of like print on demand thing. So it's fantastic, and yeah, it's just meant that I've got total freedom over creativity, and it works perfectly for me.
So which one's been the most popular then? Which one have you gotten the most feedback on in terms of your designs? Because they're all great. It's just really curious, because I want the Marilla one, to be honest with you. I'm like, I need to get on this website right now and I get myself a Marilla t-shirt.
I'd say without a doubt it's the Nuno one. I think this one it really blew up when I put this one on, and yeah, it got a lot of sales quickly, which I was completely overwhelmed with, and yeah, loved it. I think it's everyone loves that song, and I think it's almost the perfect kind of balance between like football fans, football songs, beer. It's like the perfect like football fan amalgamation into a design. So yeah, it's that one definitely blew up, and I was overwhelmed by how that sold initially.
Gary's in the comments, and he actually asked a question: any chances of a nostalgic design for us who remember yesteryear? And just before I saw that comment, I was thinking the same thing. That in itself, because you talked about the players here and now. If you do a t-shirt for them and then they leave, have they built up enough of a following for people to still want that t-shirt? Whereas if you dip into the past and you go Stuart Pearce, Des Walker, John Robertson, Nigel Clough, Stan Collymore, and I just named off the top of my head, they're still legends. So you could potentially, I guess what I'm trying to say is you've got a whole load of stock ideas there potentially. So is there possibly a legend series you might think about doing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that I have thought about doing, and it's almost because we've been doing so well at the moment. It's almost meant I've had no time to kind of focus on that sort of stuff. Maybe if we were sat mid-table in the championship, it'd have been a lot easier to go back and focus on some of those stuff. But because we've been doing so well, it's almost like this season's been a main focus. So yeah, it's definitely something I've considered, and I think I probably will go down that route at some point. It's definitely a good option. I think a lot of people would appreciate it and enjoy those sort of designs as well.
Yeah, I was going to say there's probably a lot of inspiration this year. There's been some pretty incredible, outcomes in terms of, how things have happened on the field. So that's great. That's excellent. I'm with Greg. Like, I was just thinking to myself, man, I would kill for a Psycho one as well. Stuart Pearce one. That would be fantastic. So I'm glad you're considering that, which is great. So how do you balance this time though, between all the stuff you're doing with this? And then do you find yourself, because I know with Greg and I, we get kind of obsessed with like podcast related stuff, and we start getting like hooked on, we got to be paying attention to this and paying attention to that and getting this thumbnail together and getting this new video and things together. Like you mentioned, the new intro and so forth. So shout out to Garibaldi Bard for continuing to be a very popular in and of itself, but he's definitely done a master class for us. But yeah, how do you balance all that? Because I know I get really obsessed. I'm obsessed with Forest anyway, right? So just like you, but yeah, it's just it can consume you a little bit.
It absolutely can. I think my girlfriend would probably attest to that as well. It can be consuming, but you just find time because you love it. So it's great. And I've had a lot of things to balance as well. I've started using TikTok as a platform as well, because I think it's good for improving kind of reach and your audience. And I've had to teach myself how to edit TikTok videos and stuff like that, which I've never done before. So that sort of thing is time consuming. And I just try to make sure I kind of do something every day that's contributing towards growing it. So even if it's just half an hour, if I sit down and edit up a little post or something on social media, or I spend half an hour starting on a design or finishing off a design, something like that, then it just kind of keeps me ticking over. And it doesn't mean I have to necessarily contribute a massive amount of time of my day to do it, but just something that constantly keeps ticking it over and keeps kind of progressing.
It's difficult when you've got a job like Richard touched on. We've got jobs and businesses, and then you have something like this on the side that just takes over. Because I think you said a mechanical engineer by trade. That's your full-time job, right? So Tricky Tees is your passionate side hustle, I guess we could say, and we all need one of them. I think you've done so well. I'm so pleased for you, because they are genuinely really clever designs. I want to say hi to Tim Easom in the comments. He says, well done, Richard, for getting up so early. Anna's with us. Anna Hewson, hi guys. She says she's also going to make a purchase. So that's great. I encourage you guys to go and check out Sam's website. There it is again on the screen. It's in the comments. It will be posted in the bio. One player that I noticed hasn't got a t-shirt yet. If I may humbly suggest that possibly it's overdue, is the Kiwi man, Chris Wood, because I think he's due one now. I got this vision of a knee slide going down with a big trail of knee mud behind, with him doing his pose, something like that. I don't want to kind of intrude on your design ideas, but yeah, I got this kind of vision in my head of a Chris Wood t-shirt. Is there possibly one on the horizon, Sam?
It's in the motions. It's in the motions.
Say no more. It's in the motions. You heard it here first. Yeah. So for those Chris Wood fans out there, then that could be coming your way. And he's been brilliant for us. And I think one thing I'm wondering is Yates's got a t-shirt. Danilo's got one, and the players will have seen other players having their t-shirt. So has anyone actually reached out to you to say, hey, where's my t-shirt?
No, I mean, that'd be amazing if so. Give me a way in, but no, not yet. The photo that Yatesy sent me was just hilarious. I just find that so funny. Is that I just did a drawing in my living room, and then there it is on a t-shirt in the Forest dressing room. Like that's just crazy to me. So yeah, it's nice to see that they've seen it, and some of them will have seen it. So it's always just trying to make contact with footballers is always a tricky thing. They're obviously very busy people, and they've got massive followings on social media. So trying to get get your name out there and get the attention is always a difficult thing. But still, we're hopefully making a few connections and progressing things, and hopefully more will come.
My son Orlando is a huge fan, because Father Christmas bought him a Morgan Gibbs-White t-shirt. So Father Christmas went to your site and got him a Morgan Gibbs-White t-shirt. So he's got the one with the fingers in the ears. He loves that. It's his birthday next week, and he was hoping to get a couple more. So we'll see. We'll see what happens on his birthday. But what I'm mentioning it because for any parents out there, they're great gift ideas. Great for kids. The quality is great. The fit's really good. And they're fun, and it's got their heroes on their chest. So yeah, listen, guys, Sam has done a great job at Tricky Tees with some brilliant designs. Support a fellow Forest fan. Go and check out the site. Have a look. There's Danilo, there's Elanga, there's Callum Hudson-Odoi, there's the one I'm wearing, the Hudson-Odoi Gibbs-White handshake, which is, it's niche. It's good. It's, you know, I can't get this anywhere else. So, you know, it's something I would encourage you guys to do, to support a fellow Forest fan. Right. We will always ask everyone coming on, Sam, to come up with their own personal favourite all-time Forest 11. And so there it is on the screen. I'm going to read it out for everyone listening, and then I'll ask you about one or two players that you've chosen. So you've gone for Lee Camp in goal. You put Ola Aina at left back. Smart move. You've got Jed Spence at right back. Murillo and Wes Morgan in defence. In midfield, you've gone for Radimaevsky, Lewis McGugan, GibbsWhite in his kind of 10 position, Andy Reid on the left, Brennan Johnson on the right, and Rob Earnshaw up top. So, yeah, it really feels like you've captured some players that you would have seen when you were perhaps in your teen to sort of young adult years. So why have you gone for Lee Camp in goal?
Lee Camp for me was just he just epitomised. He was so just high energy and just celebrated saves all the time. And I loved having him in goal. I think back to the last minute penalty save away at Derby and him like double fist pump after he did that. I just think, he was someone that I loved watching in goal for Forest. And obviously this team is like I say, an accumulation of players that I've grown up watching that I loved watching. I mean, if you're talking like the best team, like the team right now is the best team that I've watched, but these are the players that I just kind of connected with and just had a real love for when I watched them play.
And that's what we want. That's what we ask people to do it for. It's not like if everyone picked the best team, the team will be the same. We want you to pick players that mean something to you. I mean, I'm a big Radimaevsky fan. I loved him from the moment he came. And then not long after he joined the club, I met my wife, who's also Polish as well. So there was that extra connection as well. So we're keeping an extra eye on Majewski. I think he was a superb player for us. In that midfield, scored a couple of hat-tricks. So I can easily see why you picked him. But a lot of good strikers to pick, Sam. And you've gone for Robbie Earnshaw. Out of all the ones you could have picked, why have you gone for Earnshaw?
Because, I mean, just mostly because of the celebration, to be honest. He was also, for me, I mean, before Chris Wood, he was, for me, the most clinical striker I think we've had in my lifetime. I think he was probably unlucky not to get up and experience the Premier League with Forest. I think he probably deserved that as a striker. And yeah, he's just someone that for me always just was a terror, and I'd have hated to play against him as an opposition. And yeah, just someone that I related with to a lot. And growing up, doing the front flip in front of the Forest fans was something that I just always just loved, and it was so unique. And maybe tried it a couple of times in myself when I was younger off the sofa, which probably didn't end very well. But yeah, he was just someone that I loved. I loved watching. Just a natural goal scorer and an exciting player to have up front.
And out of the current crop, you've gone for Aina and Murillo, which completely understandable. And then, of course, the man that I think pretty much everyone loves, Morgan Gibbs-White. Just tell us what your thoughts on Morgan Gibbs-White and how he's performed for Forest this season.
Yeah, Morgan, he sometimes gets a bit of stick. I think people expect too much of him. I think he's almost built himself up onto this pedestal where everyone expects him to, as soon as he gets the ball, to beat a man, create something, and put someone in on goal. But he's just technically one of the best players I've ever seen in a Forest shirt. He can do things that no one else can on the pitch, and he's absolutely pivotal to our team. I think he's that role as number 10 is such an important position. It's the focal point of all attacks, and he's proven how important he is. Like the last I can't remember what the stat was, but the goals and assists he's put in the last few games has been so important to us. And without him, I think we'd be. I mean, we don't score a lot of goals anyway, but without him, I think we'd be scoring even fewer. So he's a really important cog in the wheel to Forest and makes us tick. So yeah, I think for me, he's the best number 10 that I've seen at Forest, and I couldn't leave him out of this team.
Can't blame you. So there's Tricky T's Reds on the screen. We thank you for putting that together for us, Sam. We showed in a recent pod the artwork of another Forest fan, Glenn Hancock's daughter, Lily. She we showed this. There it is again on the screen. So she's a young person aspiring to work in kind of graphic design or something that is along those lines. So what kind of advice have you got for someone who's like a young person, teenager, wants to kind of forge a career in the graphic? I know that you went into mechanical engineering yourself, but is it a tough industry to break into, would you say?
Yeah, I think it's just getting your ideas and your work out there, really. I think that's the toughest thing that I found. I think this is amazing. I think it's just keep going with it. And the beauty about football and the beauty about Forest is that there's inspiration constantly coming. So you don't have one idea. You're not narrowed by your kind of your subject. You can create designs every week if you wanted to. And I think as long as you're dedicated, and obviously if you're talented like Lily is here, you can make something of it and go into whatever you wanted to go into.
Interactive digital design. That was what she's studying at the Brit School. So yeah, I wanted to show that again, just kind of get your thoughts on that, because we love it when young people are getting inspired by Forest. It's something that we are passionate about and we always want to try and push. Okay, right, we've just gone past the half-hour mark.
As ever, we're super grateful for your support. Please hit like and subscribe. Or if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can follow us to be sure to never miss a Talking Reds episode.
So just gone 11 a.m. in the morning on Saturday. Forest are playing tomorrow, so no game today at the moment. Not quite lunchtime, but we better do this.
This York shop is a cheese lover's paradise. Based on Grape Lane, the Cheese Trader is home to a wide range of beautiful specialty cheeses, including its scrumptious camembert and famous charcoal cheddar. Plus, there's some delicious relishes and chutneys to pair with your favourite bite. Not just selling it, the Cheese Trader offers a high-level, tasty and delightful street food menu. Try their loaded fries and hot cheese toasty, and their posh cheese on toast is sure to be the best you've ever had. Owned by Forest fan Stu Freestone, the Cheese Trader proudly sponsors Talking Reds, and you can enjoy 10% off every order you place simply by quoting Talking Reds in person, on email or through Instagram. The Cheese Trader and Talking Reds, cheesy as hell.
Yes. The Cheese Trader, Stu Freestone, you know what to do. Forest fans. All right. Let's do this, I think.
The lightning round! The lightning round!
That's what happens when you keep the loop on. Sorry, mate.
That's all right. No, that's okay. We'll hear it. We can hear that over and over again. I'm not upset about that. Yeah. So, of course, as you heard, inspired by the great show Friends. So Greg and I are massive fans. One of the other things we connected on right away. So we're just going to run through these really quickly. First thing that comes to your mind, just throw it out there. All right. So what was your first Forest match live?
It was Norwich at home in 2003, I think.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I lived in Norwich. Great place.
Remember the score?
All right.
2-1, I think.
To us.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Favorite Forest player of all time?
Andy Reid.
What player in Forest history would you like to see on the current squad? That's tough, huh?
Probably Stan Collymore, because I never got to experience it.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah, you can't go wrong. All right, your favorite away or third kid? It's the guy who appreciates design,
Yeah, I also love football kits as well. I've got a bit of a collection. The 2004 Inter Milan inspired blue and black. I've got that shirt.
Oh yeah,
that
that's a good one.
It's one of my favorites, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah, Greg. I think Greg likes those kits a little bit, right? You like football shirts?
Yeah, my collection's growing. My New Year's resolution was to stop purchasing Forest merchandise, kits and T-shirts, etc. But that went out the window, I think, on the 1st of January. But there we go.
There you go. What is your favorite Forest moment or memory?
My first ever away game was Man City in the FA Cup in 2008, where we won 3-0. So not a bad first away day for me when I was about 8 years old. So yeah.
2009.
2009. Sorry, yeah, you're right.
3rd of January.
Don't test Greg.
No, it was an amazing Forest performance.
Excellent. That's awesome. If you weren't a Forest fan, what club would you support?
If Forest didn't exist, I currently live down in southwest London, and my closest team down here is AFC Wimbledon, and I love their fan culture, and obviously it's a fan-owned club and everything, the history around there. So I pop down for a game every now and then if I'm not watching Forest. So yeah, I would say AFC Wimbledon.
Oh, very cool.
Like it.
Apart from Cloughy or Cooper, who was your favorite Forest manager?
Well, Nuno is currently, but I'll go back a bit further and give a more interesting answer. I'd probably say it's probably got to be Billy Davis, to be honest. He divides opinion, but he almost brought us promotion on two seasons, and they were exciting seasons. So yeah, I'd say Billy.
We played some good football under Billy Davis. We did play some good football under.
For sure. If Forest could sign one player from a non-top 6 side, who would it be? So we're talking, Villa, Bournemouth, Fulham, Wolves.
Yeah. Okay. If we're including Villa in that, then I would say Ollie Watkins.
Oh, okay,
I think for obviously Chris Wood's flying, but he is approaching the kind of the twilight years of his career, and if someone's going to come in and take that place, Ollie Watkins would be an amazing player to have in that position.
Fantastic. All right, so based on what they do on the pitch right now, and when I say valuable, it's not necessarily monetary, but who is more valuable to Forest, Morgan Gibbs-White or Murillo?
That's a tough one. I would say Gibbs-White, only in the fact that we've got Morato sat on the bench, that if Murillo wasn't there, he could come in and probably do almost just as good of a job as Murillo's doing. He's proven himself to be just fantastic as well when he's featured. So based on that, I would say Gibbs-White, because I don't think there's anyone in the team that can do what he can do.
Perfect. All right, last question. Forest win the Premier League, but are then relegated into the Championship. You're very familiar with this. For the next 25 years, would you take it?
No, I don't think so. Those championship years, 25 years is a long time, and those championship years can be grueling. And I wouldn't want to wish that on future generations. I hope that we kind of get to become a kind of a Premier League staple and get European football and a challenging around there for years to come.
Fantastic. All right, buddy. That's it. Last question. Thanks.
I majored in lightning rounds. All right.
Excellent. It's interesting because that last question we created before the season started. And so therefore the idea of Forest winning the Premier League was just that's never going to happen. But of course, now we're like third in the table and it is within grasp. When you're 6 points behind the leaders or 7 points, whatever it is, I can't remember now. It only takes a slip up here and there, and all of a sudden it's unlikely, but you never know. Danilo design on sky blue purchase by Gary. Looking forward to it arriving. Well done, Gary. Good stuff. So purchase
very much.
Has been made. Excellent. Okay, so we've got a bit of time left. thinking about the season now, thinking about the current squad, moving on to talking about where we are. Can you sum up your emotions, Sam, on the season so far? Thinking about the last 2 years of it being really poor and struggling, and going into this season with a couple of new faces coming in, and we had high hopes over here at Talking Reds. We predicted when we did our pre-season matches a 12th place finished, and we were happy with that, thinking, wow, we can get 12th, be unbelievable. But look at where we are now. So can you sum up your emotions from where we were to where we are now?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think any progress on last year would have been a good season and not been in a relegation fight. But it's just dreamland, really. No one would have predicted it. Like literally no one. People had as favourites to go down, and to completely like buck that trend and be the complete opposite end of the table is just incredible. I mean, the fact that came away from the Liverpool game and was almost disappointed with a point. It just kind of shows where we are really as a club at the moment. And yeah, it's just dreamland. Can't really believe it, and it's fantastic to see. I'm just hoping that we can continue it. I'm going to the Southampton game tomorrow, so that'll be a good one, and hopefully we can avoid a potential banana skin there and keep going, which is crazy to say because this time last season playing a team like Southampton would have been like, right, this is a really, really big game. There's a lot of pressure on us. We need to make sure we get a result. And now it's like, we need to just avoid a banana skin and come out with a win. Like it's crazy how things change so fast. So yeah, it's been an amazing season. Just hope it continues in the best way. I actually put a bet on when I walked out the West Ham game, at the City Ground on the West Ham game when we won 3-0. I walked out and immediately just stuck a fiver on Forest to win the league. Because I thought it was the most confident performance I've seen from Forest. We were so comfortable in that game. I just thought, you know what, even if there is the chance, and I think at the time it was 250 to 1, and I checked this morning, it's down to about 30 to 1. So there you go. That shows that that we're progressing and it's becoming more of a chance. I think the betting site that I've used has actually offered me a cash out for the first time this since I put the bet on. So it shows that there is potential, and people do think it is a possibility.
So I have a couple questions. Is there moments, right? So we have a guy who comes on. His name is Ross. He mentioned a couple of times on another podcast and then on ours, like he's still in the past, in recent past, has been looking at like where we are in reference to relegation. So is there still like that sort of historical Forest fan in you that sort of just like you mentioned, banana skin for this coming match, that sort of doubts a little bit? And but that aside, the other part of my question is, where do you think we finish? I don't know if you said that. I may have missed it if you did, but where do you think we end up finishing? If we don't win the Premier League title, do you think we'll end up finishing in the top 5 for sure?
Well, yeah, it's that kind of inbuilt Forest pessimism, I think, that's ingrained in all of us over the years. So I mean, we joke about it. I've got a group chat with some of the guys I go to the games with, and every game in the last few weeks, it's like, I think we might be safe from relegation now. I think we might just be safe. It's always that running joke. But realistically, I mean, if we get any European football, it's absolutely amazing season. It's beyond everyone's expectations, beyond everyone's thoughts that we'd even be anywhere near it. But like I say, I don't even bother with page 2 of the table now. Like it's not a thing for us not to even consider. I mean, there's every chance that everything could turn around and as quickly as it has the other way for us, and we could sit down the table and I'll be honest, if we finish 10th, it's from this position, it's going to look like a bad season. But on the overall progress and where we've come as a team, it would still be progress and an achievement. But the way things are going and the confidence running through the team at the moment, and the fact that we've got a core team that doesn't look like it's going to be picked apart by big clubs taking players left, right, and centre, it's got all the makings of a team that can compete at European level. And I mean, it just shows the fact that we've taken 4 points off Liverpool, who no one else has beaten this season. They're running away with it. Looking like they're going to run away with it at the top. Hopefully we can try and rein them in a little bit. But the fact that that's there, I don't see why we can't finish top 4.
listen, top four's on. Newcastle are making a charge, and there's still a lot of football to be played. And it's crazy to say that if we didn't get top four now, how we might be feeling disappointed. Whereas if we end up eighth, and we end up seventh, eighth, and we get Conference League, it's still such a massive step up from where we've been. But I think a lot of us would be feeling a little bit deflated because it's been such a great first half of the season and has carried into January. We carried it into January with that Liverpool performance and, still in the FA Cup. And I think an FA Cup run is definitely on the cards. But out of all the goodness that's happened this season, Sam, thinking of the playing staff now, who's impressed you most? So give us a few names as to who's really stood out for you and who's your player of the season so far.
Oh God, right, okay. So I mean, they've all been fantastic. It's hard to pick out the individuals because I think Forest's system is based on a system as a whole, and that's why it works so well. I think I've been really impressed with how Elanga's reacted to kind of his, maybe someone would say, dip in form, and he was managed fantastically well by Nuno. It just shows how good of a man manager he is as well as a tactician. And he's come back and he's been so effective for us. But for me, I thought, for me, the player of the season so far, and then there was a lot of kind of controversy around his move when he joined, is Elliot Anderson. I think if you go and watch them in person, Elliot Anderson is the absolute epitome of die for the shirt. He puts in so much effort every game, and he surprised me because when we signed him, I always thought he was more of a number 10 or a wide man. But he is the perfect all-round number 8. He does everything. His defensive efforts are fantastic. He flies into tackles and he's so good defensively. And going forward, he can get assists, he can put balls in, and he can unlock defenses as well. So for me, to obviously it was done in some weird PSR transfer that I don't really know enough about or want to go into, but it was done in some weird way. And he's 21 years old, I think. He's an absolutely phenomenal signing, and I think it goes really he's very underrated, I think, from people outside of Forest. But I think if you watch him week in, week out, everyone knows how fantastic of a player he is. So for me, I think I would put him as my player of the season so far.
Yeah, that seems to be kind of a running theme, right? Especially coming off the summer window. It's like this versatility of the players we have, and just the overall recruitment process has just been stellar. I mean, the way that we've elevated our ability to construct a team, right, under Nuno in particular, like you mentioned, has been incredible. So I'm thinking, what are you thinking about this transfer window then? Are you thinking we're going to be active? Do you think we're going to go after a specific type of player or a specific position? I mean, what are your thoughts around that? What do you think we need to strengthen the team even more?
There's not a lot. I think the core of the team's there, and I would like as little disruption in that as possible. I think that's you could do what a lot of teams do and go and sign a marquee player for several £1 million, and they're probably on a lot of money. And I just think there's no point going out and disrupting the harmony that's clearly in that dressing room right now, and we don't need it. The only position I think is lacking cover is that striker position. I think Awoniyi has been fantastic for us, but I don't think he's been able to get back to his best since his injuries, and it's not his fault. I think it's just been really unfortunate for him. So I think for him, maybe going somewhere and getting minutes would be better for his career right now, and I think it would be a position that we could maybe invest in. I've seen some links to some players like Johan Wissa, which I think is probably unachievable, so I don't think Brentford would let him go. But the striker position, and then maybe just a couple of young lads again. I mean, why not? Whoever found Murillo and Danilo in Brazil, send him over and go and find another £10 million 18, 19-year-old and see what happens, because clearly that guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we think that Taiwo might be the one that goes, or I think so. I said that a few pods ago. West Ham showing interest, apparently. They've got a striker problem with Fulkrug out, and Antonio clearly not going to play again, possibly ever. and Bowen through the middle is an option for them, but obviously they want to try and see if they can reinforce that. So I think I'm taking West Ham money if it's decent for Taiwo, if it comes, but only if we can get a replacement in. So that's the only area I also would be looking at. Okay, so this is Talking Reds.
Never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Thanks, everyone. And so then, we're nearly out of time, Samuel. So,
okay, clear your mind and answer the first thing that comes into your head.
Because it's time for...
Name that grandmother.
Yes, we like to do things a little bit differently here on Name That Grandmother. So, it's coming at you thick and fast. Marmite, love it or hate it?
I'm actually the most indifferent person on Marmite ever. I'm just going to say love it, but I'm just indifferent on it, really.
How am I cooking your steak?
Rare.
What's your favourite cheese?
Brie.
What's the best sandwich?
Oh, the best sandwich. I would go again with I like a brie, bacon, and sweet chili jam. That's my go-to sandwich.
Oh, nice. And in the spirit of the segment,
name that grandmother.
What are your grandmother's names?
Both Janet. So nice and easy.
Damn it, Janet. Lovely. Janet. Both called Janet. Nice and easy. Can't forget that, can you? Yeah, people say, what is that name that grandmother stuff about? It's just because we like to find out more about the guests when they're on, and it's just a bit quirky and all that kind of stuff. So there we go. That's why we do it. Listen, we are out of time, and I want to say it's been an absolute pleasure to have you with us on Talking Red, Sam. Any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us before you go? Maybe you want to plug something that's coming up on your brand. Tell us about anything that's going on there. Over to you, Sam.
I just want to say thank you for having me on. I think the podcast is really good. I enjoy listening to it, and yeah, really appreciate you having me on to kind of help me plug my brand. And I've got my accounts on Instagram and TikTok mainly, but so yeah, Instagram mostly. So if you are listening and you want to go and follow and check my stuff out, then head over to Instagram. It's tricky.tees. And then I mean I'll be at the games. Well, I'll be at most home games and the odd away game as well. So if you do see me, say hello, and hopefully when the weather starts getting a bit better, we'll see a few more t-shirts out and about at games, which will be good. I've seen a few at the start of the season. I think Brighton away was the last day that I think people could probably wear t-shirts outside without it being too cold, and saw a few people wearing them then and had a few chats with people, which was really nice to see.
Just quickly on that, it must be quite amazing actually when you see people walking around with your t-shirts on. I can only imagine that would be fantastic. I mean, just we don't have merchandise, but we've got a few pin badges that we give out to people. So if I saw someone wearing a Talking Reds pin badge, I'd be floating high. But to see someone who's purchased one of your, there we go. I'll get you one sent out, Sam. There you go.
Nice.
To see someone who's purchased one of your tees must be unbelievable, eh?
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, but yeah, it's great. I love it. It's fantastic, and everyone's so nice and supportive, and everyone seems that the sport world seems to love it. So it means so much for me. So yeah, if you do in summer, if you've got one, wear it about to games, and hopefully I'll bump into you and have a bit of a chat and yeah, it's just great.
Sam, thanks again for being with us. Richard Spray in Oklahoma, sign us off with some final thoughts, mate.
I neglected to mention this on the last pod, which was terrible of me as a father, but it was my daughter's birthday. So she turned 9 years old. So she loves Forest. She loves football in general, which is great. And she loves her, I think it's the away kit for this season. She's a big fan of the color pink. So she really enjoys it. So Sam, if you got any good, I know the AT's got a pink one, but if we could somehow get a pink Morgan Gibbs-White, we'd be very pleased, because I can guarantee you that she would want to wear that. So, but yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Appreciate your creativity and your vision and just the passion that exudes from what you're doing, which is great, which is excellent. We need that, right? We're a passionate lot as Forest fans, and you're no exception to that, man. Just a great band. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
Amazing. and that would be Layla, your daughter, because you got 3 of them.
That's correct. Yes, Layla.
Yeah. It's made you a Layla bug. She's so sweet.
Yeah.
So happy belated birthday to Layla. And listen, the Forest fans are the best. They're supportive. They get behind their own. You're a Nottingham lad who is striving to just, create something for the fan base. And so I encourage all fans of Forest to get behind Sam and Tricky Tees, because they are genuinely decent T-shirts, decent quality, amazing designs. And like I said, there's lots of stuff out there you can be purchasing. The price point, I think, is pretty much bang on. So do go and check out Tricky Tees if you can. We'll be back for the Southampton review on Monday, I think. In the meantime, come on, you Reds. See you soon.
Come join Greg and Richard right here on Dark and Red.